I'm Ollie. I'm an Obtainium engineer and jack of all trades. And I'm here at the Friars Forest Research and Development Workshop converting Soldering 1968 Toyota Stout to electric. Day 29, got a better microphone. I'm hoping that's a bit of an improvement. Put a comment in the description if it's better or you preferred the older audio. Had some good progress in the last couple of days sorting out a few of the major hurdles that we had. Tan from Alps Power came up and repaired the batteries. We dropped in on Gus's yesterday and he desoldered the damaged FETs off the motor controller and the new parts had arrived at his place. But anyway, we have the motor controller back, as I said, from Gus. So we've got that here. It doesn't have any of the FETs on the board. We've got to solder them on. We've got new FETs here. We've also got their rectifier diodes, but we're using them for surge suppression. They're really big, chunky ones. We've also got some microsheeting for insulation, where we're putting the FETs onto the aluminium heatsink, just to be sure that there wasn't a short through that. Yeah, so we'll be getting the FETs onto that board. Then we're going to do a bit of bench testing. We're going to power the motor controller with a power supply. You come to say hello, have you, Penny Chomsky? And we're going to power the motor controller with a bench power supply, and we're going to get it to turn a 48 volt 1 kilowatt DC permanent magnet motor that Adrian lent us, so we can make sure the motor controller is behaving before we put it back in that vehicle, before we connect it to any other batteries. I reckon we jump into soldering these FETs on in the electronics room. Rightio, let's get this motor controller happening. So these are pretty fancy FETs. They have to go in the underside of the board. Righto, we've put all the new FETs on here, and I've tried to build up pools of solder on the legs across to the traces and everything, so that there's a little bit more conduction pathway both for heat and electricity. Sun's just come out. It's great. Power pouring in from those panels, and I can hear the river running because it's been raining so much. It's such a green season. It's so nice here in central Victoria. So La Nina, and yeah, we don't have fire or flood really, although if it keeps raining we might have flood. Might just quickly nick down to the river and check it out. I can hear it running from here. Look at this locust tree. It's just like growing so fast this season. Such a beautiful season right here in central Victoria right now. Okay, so we've got a little bench test. So I've got the pot here. Let's power on our power supply. I want to adjust amps, so we'll go down to 0 amps, output on. And now, you see that? Speed controller is working. We're pulling 0.6 of an amp, 0.9, 1 amp. Cool. Well, that's behaving. Motor controller's up and running. Well, I reckon this bench test is looking pretty good really. And continue our progressive build up now that I'm a bit gun shy after blowing up things. Let's get this in the vehicle. I'm just looking at in the motor control box. I've reinstalled the motor controller after we just bench tested it.
And I just thought, oh, I'll just check the FETs, because last time we checked them, they were positive negative pairs, we thought. This time, it's not that, and we know it's right because it's working. It's motor positive, battery positive pairs. That could have been a faulty motor controller to begin with. I certainly didn't pick it up. I didn't know what it should be. I'm way less knowledgeable on these things, so I'm very much on the learning curve. Anyway, I'm feeling positive now that the motor controller is working. It's back in. I've checked it's insulated from the heat sink. It's not contacting that. Everything seems to be correct, so we're going to continue with our tests.
A little while later,
it's definitely nighttime out there now. So this is the BMV, the battery monitor, and it has a relay on the back of it. So we've got that hooked up now as well, so that it will only open that relay when the voltage on the motor controller is over whatever we want to set it to, 46 volts, which means it won't open until it's pre-charged and the BMV is booted up. So that gives a bit of protection to the crazy situation we had where the contactor went off because the batteries went off and then the contactor came back on immediately, even though we didn't really want that. Anyway, so I've learnt a bit from what happened. We've added surge suppression, we've added an enable signal so that you can't just press the accelerator when the contactor isn't even on. And we've, added protection to make sure the contactor doesn't come on until it's pre-charged. Or if there's a dead short on the motor controller, like there was at one point there, the contactor won't come on. So I think we're all good. Let's try it with our power supply.
I just want to take a moment for a quick ad break. What ad break? Yeah, an ad break. I want to give a quick plug to a local business, the Salvage Yard. Flippin' awesome business. For anyone who cares about repairing things and making things from all the crap that our society really should keep using, because it's still perfectly good in so many ways, but they throw out. Buildings that are just going to get torn down and scrapped. Salvage Yard, go dismantle them, have it available there for you to be able to go through in an organized way. Love what they do. Reason I'm mentioning them is they gave us the lights that are in the background here. So thanks so much, Matt and Anna. Amazing business you run. I just think you guys are awesome, and I want to see more of that sort of recycling, reusing, and availability of secondhand materials instead of the massive waste that we have in our society. I have made so many things from stuff that's just being thrown out, in a lot of cases where the thing is brand new because they can't even be bothered reselling it. Really expensive pumps just in the scrap heap, even though they were brand new spares on an industrial boiler, just thrown out. We need more businesses like the Salvage Yard. Thanks so much for what you guys do, and thanks for contributing the lights. So not really an ad, but great business. Support them if you're in the area, and if you're wherever you are in the world, try to find your local kick-ass recycling people that are on that same wavelength, and give them a real hand, because it's just such a travesty seeing all this stuff that's perfectly usable go to waste. So love what you do, Matt and Anna. Keep at it.
Yep, that's a really, really bright light. Right, now we're through the ad break and we've been blinded. We can actually have a look inside here. So I'm about to turn the power on and see what happens with this motor controller. Putting an amp in and we're only seeing 0.35 of a volt. That suggests we've got a short. So I appear to have diagnosed a short circuit that is between the heatsink and one of these screws, because they have this pathetically tiny little plastic collar that, if it doesn't align perfectly, gets squashed, and then the threads are able to rub up against the edge of the FET, which creates a short circuit which would kill the controller. So I guess things would have blown up again had we not been doing this diagnosing. Onwards and upwards, carefully. Well, I have all the screws back in, and I've checked with the multimeter. They're behaving like they were on the bench, so the short was definitely in one of those screws. It's now not there. I don't like the way they mount those. We're going to try it with this power supply and see how we go. Okay, I've got the power supply plugged in, so let's pop some current on there and see what happens. There we go, it's on, 30 volts. We've given it 0.2 amps, but it's only taking 0.01. Got 1 amp now, and obviously we're not delivering that amount of amps. We're just allowing it to take that much. Now we need to actually see if we give the accelerator signal what happens. Wow, that sounds strange. There we go, 3 amps at 30 volts. Let's see what this does. Well, it's a very strange sound. I can't tell whether it's moving. I don't know, is that just the sound of oil seals without an engine? When you can actually hear it? I think we might actually have business. I think this might be working. Amazing. Have a look at those wheels and that tail shaft. Let's see what that turns. Ha ha ha! It's happening. I reckon that just needs more amps. What's the next step? Do I hook the batteries up? We have the batteries turned on. There's a relay on the back of this BMW, and I've got it in normally open so that when it's plugged in it's not connected, and that when a certain condition is met, according to this device, then it closes this relay. And that condition is when the voltage on this side of the contactor gets above, I've set it to 46 volts, and it has to stay there for 10 seconds, then it closes the relay. So it's only going to do that when the pre-charge resistor has brought that up on that side and there's no short over there, otherwise that voltage won't come up. So I'm really pleased with that. We should be able to now turn the key on and the contactor will come on. Let's see whether the contactor comes on. And the contactor's on. Beautiful. I think we can try to see whether this will turn the wheels. You guys better watch the wheels. That's a lot of noise it's making. Doesn't seem to draw much in the way of current. Maybe we'll try turning the current limit up on the motor controller. Really good. Interesting. Oh, it's starting to turn. We're only pushing 6 amps. Maybe we let that current limit go up a bit further. Right, now the current limit is off. Now watch that current. Let's see what happens. I don't know what that clunking sound is. It's like it's limiting itself in some way. I'm really happy where we've got to tonight. We've gone through a bunch of troubleshooting. We've found a few issues along the way that really could have cooked our goose, could have cooked the motor controller, and we got past those. We got rid of those shorts. Not entirely confident that they won't just come back on the first bump. Yeah, I think it's electronically limiting itself in some way as it gets up in speed. We have wheel movement. Going to see how we go with our little 100 amp continuous motor controller. Very excited, feeling really good, but it is time to go to bed. It's quite late and I'm really keen to get sleep so I can get up tomorrow and keep going, because we are making great progress and I am really looking forward to this thing driving out that door. I'll see you in the morning.